The only light was dark is the night of ignorance and instability. Helen Keller. Helen Keller was an amazing woman. She went through life both blind and deaf, but got through it because she was strong. Helen was not born blind and deaf. When she was a baby, she got a terrible fever. Her parents called the doctor, but it did not get any better. Her fever then turned her both blind and deaf. She never got cured. Her lack of understanding the world when she was a child made her throw temper tantrums an awful lot. She had bad manners at the dinner table as well, but her father let her act this way because he felt so sorry for her.
Helen's father, Arthur H. Keller, was a captain for the Army during the Civil War. Her mother, Kate Keller, helped her family by running the farm. Kate Keller also cooked, sewed, and raised vegetables. This was a benefit to the Keller family. Once again, Helen Keller was a young girl that was blind and deaf. Mr. and Mrs. Keller knew that Helen would need someone to teach her properly. Mr. and Mrs. Keller hired Annie Sullivan to help her. Unfortunately, Mr. Keller was not very pleased about how Annie Sullivan was teaching his daughter. Mr. Keller didn't like Annie Sullivan because she was teaching Helen harshly.
Helen had been extremely spoiled until Annie came. Annie, to Helen's father's dislike, began to discipline her. She was partially blind, and, as a child, she was put into a poor house for orphan children. Annie understood hardship herself, which made it easier to understand Helen's plight. Annie helped
When Helen got to Radcliffe College in 1990, she helped some of the blind by being part of the staff and interacting with them through the American Foundation for the Blind. In 1968, she passed away in Easton, Connecticut, but Helen Keller's spirit is still passed on from generation to generation.
Blind and deaf people today have access to helpful aids and support groups. Blind people may own talking watches and clocks. That's for those who are legally blind. There are large print books and magnifying computers. They also may go to blind learning centers to have classes to learn how to live their lives while being blind. Today, most deaf people use sign language to talk. Did you know that 70,000 people are blind and deaf? Blind or deaf people use trained dogs to assist them. Helen Keller survived her whole lifetime being blind and deaf. She was truly an amazing woman.
I am constantly on the lookout for miracles. The unexpected might happen at any odd moment, and I want to be on the spot. Helen Keller.